Hey guys, my name is Aubrey and welcome to my channel. If you're new here and you are new to the channel, then welcome. Here we discuss all things entrepreneurship, business, things like Turo, Airbnb, Upwork, freelancing, investing, personal finance, and everything in between. If you could hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you like this sort of content, then I would greatly appreciate it. It really helps YouTube algorithm and it helps my channel grow. If you are not new here and you are subscribed, then welcome back and I appreciate you coming back and watching another video. So this channel is just now about 6 weeks old and I've been paying really close attention to the comments of my videos, and I've seen the trend, and that is the trend of the same question being asked multiple times across multiple videos of mine, and that is the question of why are my cars not getting rented out, or I'm a new host and I haven't had any bookings, or why am I not doing well on Turo. It's some sort of variation of those exact questions. And so today I want to go through why that is the case, why if you're a new host, why you're not getting bookings, and how you can remedy that situation starting today. So let's get started. So I'm going to be giving you 4 things that I think that you need to check out or evaluate in order to decide if this is the reason why you're not getting any bookings. And chances are one of these 4 things is why you're not getting any bookings. And once you address these things, you should almost immediately start receiving bookings. So the first tip that I have and the first advice is your pricing. If you are somebody who's getting no bookings on Turo, chances are it's because your pricing is too high. Now, what I recommend that you do is you go onto the Turo app and you go into your area. Make sure to look specifically at your area and your city, because pricing varies significantly from city to city and from state to state. So make sure to go into the Turo app, log in to your city, and scope out some of the competition. See what your competitors are pricing their vehicles at. Make sure to find vehicles that are a comparable make and a comparable model, trim level, and make sure that it's similar, like mileage allotments and things like that. So go into the app, find your city, and figure out what the competition is pricing their vehicles at. And make sure to find a vehicle that is comparable in year, model, trim level, make, and see what the price is. And chances are if you're somebody who's getting no bookings, then your price point is going to be priced significantly higher than those, or maybe even not significantly higher, but just a few dollars more than your competition. At the end of the day, price point is a really big deciding factor if people are going to rent your cars or not. And if you're not getting any bookings, more often than not, your price is the issue. Especially if you're a new host, somebody who's brand new onto the platform, you don't have a history on the platform, you don't have a lot of reviews, and you don't have a track record on the platform, you need to keep in mind that that is for you a disadvantage at the beginning. Because if you have a Ford Fusion, you have it priced at $30 a day, and I have that exact same Fusion, me being a host with 1,000 trips, hundreds of reviews, a huge track record, and my car is also priced at $30 a day, who do you think the guest is going to go with? The guy with no reviews and no history, or the girl with 1,000 trips and hundreds of reviews? Of course they're going to go with the person with the track record. And so keep that in mind, especially at the beginning, is that you are going to have to probably price your vehicles a bit lower than your competition in order to get a history under your belt. In fact, I do this with all of my vehicles whenever I get a new one to list onto the platform. The first few weeks, I always rent it significantly lower than it should be in order for the car to get a history, to get a reviews, to get some experience under its belt. And then once it has that experience, I will then raise the price point. And remember, pricing isn't permanent. Pricing is something that is really fluctuant depending on the time of the year and the city and the competition. And so it is something that certain times of the year your prices may be higher than other times. And so it's something that you really have to play with. You have to figure out what works best for you and your business, and you have to adjust accordingly. But all in all, I would say that if you are somebody who's getting no bookings, then your pricing is probably too high and it's something that needs to be adjusted. The second tip that I have is your availability and your settings within the app are wrong. So whenever you list a new vehicle, you can really customize your settings and your availability. You can customize whether or not you want instant booking. Instant booking is when a customer has to actually put in a request to rent your vehicle, and then you have the option to either approve or decline that request. And instant booking is whenever you cannot either approve or decline it. It just automatically comes in. Now you're obligated to rent to this person. So you have the option to customize that setting. You have the option to customize advance notice. So saying how many hours advance notice do you want before a rental. You have the availability to customize things like, do you want longer trips on the weekend? What is your minimum trip length? Do you want the minimum trip to be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days? You have the availability to put a minimum or a maximum trip length as well. These are all things that can really affect your business, because if you have things like 4 or 5 day minimums on trips, if you require trips longer on the weekends, if you have a 6-hour advance notice, if you don't have instant booking, all of these things will negatively affect your business. At the end of the day, with any business, whether it be Turo, e-commerce, or anything else, your job as the business owner is to make it as easy as possible for the customer to do business with you. And with Turo, that means to have flexibility and availability within your settings. So that means, for me personally, it means having instant booking turned on. It means having 1 day minimums. It means having a 1 hour advance notice. It means not requiring longer trips on the weekends, but allowing for long trips if the guest chooses to do so. And all of these things, I think, have helped my business quite a bit, because it really accommodates to anybody and anyone who wants to rent a car on Turo, regardless of what they're looking for, what type of accommodations they need. It really adds flexibility. So if your rules and your settings within the Turo app are really strict, then you're probably not going to get a whole lot of bookings. So what I recommend that you do if you're a Turo host struggling to get rentals is to go into the Turo app. This is something that Turo prompts you whenever you're setting up a new vehicle. But if you go under the vehicle section of the app and you click on settings under each vehicle, you'll see what these are set for yourself, and try to make them as flexible as possible. I understand that for some people who have a job or they need to go to an office for a 9 to 5, then doing things like 1 hour booking or instant booking are going to be difficult. But I definitely recommend that as flexible as you can possibly make it for your situation and your scenario, then do it that way. And I think the ultimate goal is to get to the point where you're doing instant booking, when you're doing 1 hour advance notice, when you're not requiring longer trips on the weekends. All of those things that make it more flexible for the guest will increase your overall booking rate. Number 3 is really on the same kind of thought process as the last point, and that is having your calendar booked off. So on Turo, each vehicle has an individual calendar, and you can block off days and times based off of your availability. For me, I really only utilize this feature whenever I need to block off cars for maintenance or repairs, but other than that, I very rarely block off dates. But if you're somebody who is consistently blocking off dates, then you are somebody who will consistently not get rentals. Blocking off dates not only makes it harder for the guest to book a car during their desired period of time, but I've also heard and have experienced with the fact that it also deters the Turo algorithm for recommending your vehicles as well. If somebody is searching a car in your area for specific dates, and whenever you search that on Turo, a big list of vehicles will come up. Well, if you're somebody who has open availability and an open calendar, your vehicle will come up on the top of that list. But if you're somebody who has really strict availability and a calendar with a bunch of blocked off days, then your car will not appear at the top of that list, resulting in you not getting enough bookings. I've heard of people that even just book off like 1 day a week because they're having to go downtown for work that day, or they have family obligations that day, or whatever the case is. I've heard of people who just block off 1 day a week, and that has a dramatic effect on their business. In fact, I was out of town a couple weeks ago in New Mexico for a ski trip, and whenever I was in New Mexico, I blocked off the cars that were at my parking lot not getting rented during the time period that I was skiing. So for example, if I had a Ford Escape that was sitting at my parking lot and I knew that I was going to be skiing from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., I blocked off the car during that period of time because I knew I didn't have self-service and I didn't want to have to deal with the stress of the car getting booked and me not being able to mess message and send the instructions to the guest. So I simply just blocked off the vehicle. And I had to do that a few times during that week because I just simply couldn't accommodate while I was gone. I found that during that week, I had a significant drop in bookings for those vehicles that I had blocked off on the calendar, not just for the period of time that I blocked off, but also for the days afterwards as well. So blocking off on your calendar affects more than just the time that you're blocking it off. It affects potential days after that people are also looking to book. And so keep in mind that you should only be blocking off days that you absolutely cannot accommodate. And you should only really be using this feature if you're using it to block off vehicles for maintenance or repairs. It is not something that you should be using on a regular basis to block off vehicles based off of your convenience, because if that's how you're using the tool, then you will see a dramatic decrease in bookings. And number 4 is just not taking the business seriously, canceling on guests last minute, not cleaning your cars in between rentals, not having open availability, treating this like a business that you want to do, but then once it comes to actually like executing the business, you're just finding every way possible to not actually be involved. And that means having a blocked off calendar, having scarce availability, having a high price point. It's not being realistic with your expectations, and it's not taking it seriously. If you are somebody who is struggling to get rentals on Turo and you take my advice that I've laid out here, so you adjust your price point to a competitive price point, you address your Turo settings and make sure that your instant booking is on, your advance notice is as small as possible, you don't require longer trips on weekends, and you have a realistic minimum trip length. And if you do not block off unnecessary days on your calendar, I can almost guarantee you that you will see an increase in bookings, 100%. Every single person that I've spoken to who I've given this advice to has seen an increase in bookings almost immediately. But it's your job to take these tips and then to apply them to your business and then take it seriously. Because if you start getting more bookings, but then you're not taking the business seriously, then you'll lose those bookings almost immediately. So make sure to be consistent, have open availability, have a competitive price point, and take this business model seriously, and you should be set up for success. There's no reason why you shouldn't see consistent bookings from here on out. So guys, these are my tips for you. They are not hard to implement, and that's why I think that this video is going to be so valuable, because a lot of times I think that these sorts of things aren't necessarily common sense to new hosts. These new hosts wouldn't even think twice about having instant booking on, or having 1 hour advance notice, or having a 1-day minimum trip length, or not requiring longer trips on the weekends. These sorts of things really make a big difference, and I don't think that it's always common sense to implement these into your business model. So that's why I wanted to create this video today, is because anytime somebody asks me the question, why am I not getting bookings on Turo? This is the advice that I give them every single time, and so far almost 100% success rate. I've seen that they have seen an improvement in their business. And so if you are somebody who is struggling to get rentals, then go and apply these and see where you can adjust your business, where you can adjust your settings, and see if it helps your Turo booking rate. If it does, and if you have any other questions, then comment below. I would love to see what your experience is with Turo, if you applied these types of tips that I just gave you and how it affected your business, and if it didn't affect your business as positively as you hoped, let me know what the problem is, and I would be happy to kind of give my 2 cents. And so I appreciate you guys checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video.